In the beautiful, vibrant and bustling city of Enugu with industrious and hardworking people, there lived a young man named Obinna who lived in the slums of the city. His family was poor. His father was a retired civil servant and his mother was a trader. He had just finished from secondary school and about to get to the university, but his parents could not afford it. He had a younger sister and brother who were still in secondary school, and his parents struggled to pay their school fees as well. Obinna, being an ambitious and determined young man, decided to work for different people to help his parents financially with little to no hope of furthering his studies. Soon after, he began working as a sales boy at a provision store. One fateful day, he was busy working hard as usual when an older woman and her daughter came down from a big jeep. Amara was going into the shop with her mother to get some provisions she will use and take back to school. Amara had just picked up a cart to start walking through the aisle with her mom when Obinna was walking down the corridor. Their eyes met. She was stunned. Obinna greeted her and her mother and kept going. "Excuse me," she called. Obinna turned back and asked her, "Any problems?" Amara replied, "No, yes, no, I'm Amara, 300 level business admin, I'm Obinna, are you in school?" Obinna answered, "Not yet." Amara asked, "Why not? Or you've graduated?" Obinna answered reluctantly, "No, I haven't been admitted yet." Amara's mom called. Amara answered and quickly followed her mom to finish shopping. By the time they got to pay for the provisions, Obinna had gone for an errand. Amara felt bad. The next day, she went back to the store and just as expected, she met him and discussed with him. She started up a conversation with him and they began chatting behind the store. Obinna found her beautiful, funny, and witty. She was a very intelligent girl from a wealthy home whose father owned chains of businesses and was a philanthropist. "I can talk to my father, he can help sponsor your education like he's doing for many others," Amara assured him. Obinna was so grateful to her. Soon he met with her father, had a brief introduction, and he realized Obinna is a very intelligent boy with no opportunities to help him excel. Chief Emeka handed him some money with which he used to retake JAMB and pay for the first session. Chief Emeka saw that he was hardworking and gave him a part-time job in one of his businesses. He loved him like a son since he had 2 daughters with his wife. Obinna excelled in his studies the first year. His parents learnt about Chief's good deeds upon their family and went to personally thank him together with their son. The two families were getting fond of each other, and at last, they moved into a better home and Obinna was able to assist his parents financially. Over the years, Obinna and Amara exchanged numbers and remained friends despite their busy schedules, usually discussing about family, health and other challenges about life. It was another beautiful day of lecture with students sitting down and discussing with each other while waiting for the lecturer early in the morning. Obinna, who was already in 500 level, as a student of mechanical engineering, was talking with a classmate when a beautiful girl walked into the lecture room. Some of the boys stared, including Obinna. She sat in the front seat and began talking with a female classmate of his. Soon after, she got up and left the class when Obinna followed her outside and asked for her name. "My name is Oma." "Omalika," Obinna said, smiling. Oma smiled and said yes. Obinna said, "Beautiful name for a beautiful girl like you." "Thank you," Oma answered while blushing. They quickly exchanged numbers and became lovers to the admiration of everyone. They couldn't get enough of each other. They would hold hands everywhere they went so that their love was visible for all to see. Meanwhile, Amara soon heard of this and was so furious. She scattered everything in her living room in her 1-bedroom apartment after seeing pictures of them online. "How can Obinna do this to me after all I've done for him?" Her friend Jane tried to calm her down, but she was so angry. She called him, but he did not pick her calls. She was finally able to reach him and they set up a meeting at a fancy restaurant in town. She parked her white car in front of the building and went in angrily. She sat and waited for 30 minutes and he showed up. "I'm sorry I'm late, we had a lecture and it took so much, hold it there." Amara stopped him. "You were with her, weren't you? How was work?" Obinna asked her. "I'm not in the mood for questions," Amara answered angrily. Obinna asked why she was angry. She didn't respond. He asked again, she said nothing. He got up to leave and she held his hand. "Please don't leave, I missed you and you've not had time for me, that's why I am angry," Amara said sadly. "That's because I've been busy with my project and dissertation, it's been tedious, you know how it is," Obinna said. "Okay, no problems," Amara said calmly. Obinna sat down and looked her in the face and said, "I'm in love, Amara, really?" Amara became excited. "It's not you. Her name is Oma. We love each other so much, I just wish you can understand, get out. Leave here." Obinna left immediately while Amara sat there so angrily. For the next few weeks and months, Obinna and Oma had no rest of mind. It was from one threat to another, mostly through text and emails. Amara became so desperate to have Obinna that she couldn't concentrate at work. All she could think of was him. She had always thought of him since they met, but she thought perhaps he will also love me since I'm beautiful and attractive. A sweet and beautiful romantic relationship was what she craved for the past 5 years, and now she planned to make moves. Another woman takes him. Never. Obinna is mine and mine alone. We belong to each other, she told her friends. It was getting close to midnight when a knock was heard on the gate of a girls' hostel. The security man asked the older woman who came down from the vehicle what she wanted. "I want to see Oma, her mother is seriously sick and needs her help. Please help me call her." The security man sent a student to call Oma. She asked why and he explained to her. She went into Oma's room and delivered the message. Oma called her mom and they spoke briefly. Soon after, the roommate told the old woman Oma traveled for an exam. The old woman said she will come back, yet the vehicle had tinted glass. "Okay, I will come back. I'm her mother's close friend. We were very close from childhood. Tell her I'll come by 6 in the morning." By 5:50, they arrived. They waited for hours and there was no trace of Oma. The woman asked to go in and search. She went in and asked. The ladies had not even seen her since morning. After all her efforts to find her were wasted, she left. Meanwhile, Obinna's parents begged him to leave Oma to be with Amara because of her family's kindness towards them. "Amara is a beautiful girl with a beautiful heart, see how God used her to bless us. We won't be living well today if not for her." Despite the threats and pressures Obinna got, he was hell-bent on marrying Oma after school. She was also in his graduating set. They already had their lives planned out immediately after graduation until they started facing turbulence. They met in a quiet place in town expressing their worries. "She wants to get rid of me, so that she can have you," Oma said to him. "I know," Obinna said. "Her family has been very good to me for some years, but I only love her like a sister." "I never knew she could go this far," Obinna continued. They initially planned to run out of town, but school projects had to keep them in school. "No. It's too dangerous," Oma spoke while frightened. Days passed, weeks passed, and Oma was nowhere to be found. Obinna's parents already asked him to leave Oma. Amara's parents summoned him and berated him for allegedly cheating on their dear daughter. Obinna had to bow to pressure. Amara was relaxing on the couch when her phone rang. She looked at the phone and picked up the call hastily. "Hey Sandy, I called to check up on you, I miss you so much," Obinna spoke immediately. Amara was speechless for a while before she replied, "I miss you too, I want to see you now, can you come to my house, I'm home today." Obinna declined and promised to see her the following day. She agreed. Meanwhile, Oma had just returned back to the hostel after a few weeks of being away just to escape Amora's wrath. The following day, Obinna was coming out of the lecture hall when a white car drove towards the car park. He quickly jumped into the car and in minutes, the car zoomed off while others stared. Amara took Obinna to a fancy restaurant before going to her apartment. They both sat down on the couch while Obinna looked reluctant to be there the whole time. "Are you okay?" Amara asked him. "I'm okay," Obinna replied. She moved closer and kissed him. Obinna told her he broke up with Oma, that they are no longer together and he has moved on with his life. He smiled so hard just to reassure her he was serious about his decisions to leave her. "I just want to ask you to do me a little favor, don't harm her, for my sake. I promise you, she will never be a threat to us." Amara was so overjoyed to hear this. They both stood up and embraced each other tightly until Obinna got a call. After the call, he told her he had to go and study and promised to see her some other time. Meanwhile, Oma went about her life as if nothing happened while shutting out questions that had to do with her broken relationship with Obinna. Perhaps, the breakfast was too hot. Time went by, and Obinna's final exams were drawing near. It was after his project defense that his breakthrough came. His project catered to a remote community that suffered to have running water. It was so bad that they depended on a polluted water body which was up to 40 minutes walk from the village. Obinna's research gave him an outstanding idea. He came up with an advanced borehole system that filters and purifies the water from the soil bed while having multiple taps at different directions. Obinna went on to earn a first-class degree in mechanical engineering. He partnered with a non-governmental organization which helped with the financing of the project. He made sure to supervise every bit of the project. The project was completed and completely changed the lives of the people, including that of Obinna. Obinna got so many job offers and scholarships, both local and foreign. After careful consideration, Obinna was on his flight to the United States for a fully funded scholarship to graduate school. His friends and family wished him well, including Amara, who promised to see him in a few months' time to plan a wedding. Obinna just smiled and told her to hold on for a while. She listened. As Obinna's life was changing, so was Oma's. Oma had also finished with a first class in civil engineering and quickly secured a job in an oil company after her one-year mandatory service. A year later, Oma was in the United States for a conference when she saw a handsome man that looked familiar. She called him and he picked the phone immediately. "Hey darling, turn around, I'm here." Obinna turned around and was so surprised, but he walked up quickly to hug her. "I missed you so much, so I registered for this conference to learn some more and surprise you," Oma said happily. "It's such a beautiful surprise. We can learn about our fields and still learn about ourselves. Now is the perfect time," Obinna said happily. They both burst out laughing, knowing their love no longer had to be under wraps. The coast was clear, and their love blossomed even more from there. They informed their families in Nigeria, and soon after, Oma relocated to join her newly wedded husband Obinna, who had graduated, and they both went on to build their lives together. Life became more beautiful for the couple, but was not the same for Amara. She almost took her life when she heard about Obinna's marriage, until her sister and parents gave her a lot of advice. She too sought therapy and began to improve her life gradually, while also becoming a philanthropist like her dad. Obinna and his wife Oma never hesitated to help their families and the society at large. I hope you all enjoyed this story. Please tell me what you learned from this story in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, beautiful people. I love you all.